I know it's been a while, but I wanted to get a video out this week because I am running so far behind on this stuff. So grab your favorite beverage, coffee, tea, milk, chocolate, whatever, and let's just talk for a few minutes. First off, I am sitting here at my new video editing workstation, and I've got my camera kind of in the corner. You kind of see a different angle of my office, home office, studio, whatever you want to call it. It's where I run my business out of and where I hang out at all day. This has been very interesting because I'm using a laptop. I'm using the brand new Asus UX501. Well, it's brand new to me. And so far I've been pretty pleased with it. It's not without its issues though. But all in all, it's a pretty good device. And my thing right now is finding an editor that I really like. And I mean, I like Sony Vegas, but it's not detecting the GPU on here. And I think it's got to do with the way Sony recognizes NVIDIA Optimus graphics. As I understand, it uses both the integrated graphics and the dedicated GPU for switching back and forth. So I'm not sure what the problem is there, but we're going to find out. Have another sip of coffee. Let's get to the first question. This comes from, boy, I'm going to mess this name up. Claudio Orion? Sorry. Why buy a 4K device when the majority still uses 2K? This is bad business. By the time 4K goes mainstream, you already buy a new, better camera. Just wondering if this can do 60 frames per second 4K. Probably not, because they want you to buy the next new camera. Talking about the AX53. This is a prosumer. Actually, it's more of a consumer 4K point and shoot type of camcorder. No, it cannot do 4K 60 frames per second. And there's really none in this $1,000 price range I know of that does anything like that. Look, the reason you want to shoot 4K if you can is for a couple different reasons. If you're when you're creating videos, recording 4K and then downsample to 1080p, you're going to get a super sharp picture, really crispy looking video at 1080p. Now, another thing that you can do, and I've used this feature several times, like if you're featuring a product or something, you can then zoom in on that product with having a 4K source in that 1080p timeline, and you're not losing any kind of resolution. You could also grab a still from a 4K video, have a very nice photograph as well. So there's a lot of reasons, and more people are getting 4K televisions now. They are buying the 4K monitors, so it's kind of future-proofing if you're starting to record in 4K. I really do not record. I shouldn't say I don't really output videos in 4K yet, but that day will come. Right now I'm using a Canon 70D, and it records up to 1080p, and it does the job for me. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay, the next question comes from Mike360, and he asked me what I think of the new Chromebooks. They're really very nice. They have a definite market out there in education and some types of work, and so they really are very nice. And some are very nicely made. The Google Pixel is a beautiful Chromebook. I don't know if we're talking so much about the hardware or more of just the idea of Chrome OS in general. Look, it serves a great niche in the marketplace. And for education, that's certainly a big one. Or if people have very simple needs and they can do most of what they need to do on a cloud-based applications. For people like myself, they're not of real any value, but there's certainly some that are. So, it's whatever makes you happy, whatever you like. But as far as the looks of some of these Chromebooks, they're absolutely beautiful, stunning, and they're certainly really affordable for a lot of people, especially if they don't have, a lot of needs as far as specialized software and heavy-duty applications like Photoshop and Microsoft Office and all that. And yeah, sometimes cloud alternatives don't really quite cut it under certain circumstances, but that's all I can really say. I just bought this UX501. I did a review on it, and that's led to, a lot of comments about why didn't you shouldn't call it a budget alternative to the MacBook Pro. It really should have been compared to the Surface Book. No, you should have got a Flex 4. You should have got this. No. I'm going to read this one comment to you from a Jordan Allison. Very well written. Thanks, Jordan. Talking about this machine, says it represents the entire Windows machine versus Mac OS machine stuff everyone has said for years. It's a better value for the hardware included. Hardware not optimized for use with the OS. No Apple tax. Looks like a cheap toy from 2009. Honestly, I gotta beg to differ with you. I feel this is a very nice looking laptop. Maybe you have to see it in person. Maybe the video didn't do it justice. It does not look like a cheap toy. I guarantee you that. Will likely slow down significantly in a few years. Like, I've been running Windows on my custom-built PC, the same installation since 2013. It's been upgraded to Windows. Actually, I never did the Windows. It came with Windows 7. I put Windows 7 on it. And I missed out the entire Windows 8, 8.1, missed out, and went directly to Windows 10. Still chugging along, still super fast, does a great job. That's kind of a myth that they slow down over time. It used to, but not so much anymore. Will not maintain as high of resale value in a few years as a quality old Mac. I can't argue with that. But then again, I didn't pay $2,500 for this machine. I paid $1,179. So I didn't pay as much up front either. So there you have it. I plan on keeping this laptop for 3 years, and then I'll get another one. And so I'm losing, $300 a year. A little over three and a quarter a year, whatever, using this laptop. So I'm not, okay, $400. $400 a year for a brand new laptop. And if I sell it for $100, $200 when it's used, I'm still coming out okay on this. Jordan goes on to say, I do appreciate you being totally upfront about the fact that it's not even close to being a MacBook Pro killer. It's very likely for a different type of consumer, and I agree that hardly anyone who started out wanting a MacBook Pro would want to see this and change his or her mind. Okay, well, thank you for recognizing. Of course, this is not a MacBook Pro killer. This is a hardware spec-wise, and I'm talking specifically about the 2015 MacBook Pro, not the one with the touch bar on it. This is, I think, aimed towards the similar market on the Windows side of things. I think that's what this machine is for. A person with roughly those kind of specifications in a computer, they want something that looks really nice and is fairly powerful, then this machine does it. But of course it's not a MacBook Pro. MacBook Pro runs Mac OS, and they're a more solid laptop. This one's not quite as solid feeling. Still feels good, but you can tell there's a difference. Apple just puts a little bit more design flair into it. And I think they build a little bit more quality product, but they should for that kind of price. But, I've never owned a $2,500 Windows laptop either. So in theory, those should be just as well made as a MacBook Pro. But a Mac is a Mac, and and there are people out there that's done a lot of reviews of this laptop and question whether this is a MacBook Pro. You're absolutely right, Jordan. If somebody wants a Mac, seeing this, even at this price, probably wouldn't sway their opinion, but it is what it is. And yeah, there's in the Windows world, there's all kinds of options for laptops. Everybody makes laptops and different configurations and different price points. This was just a particular laptop that I've wanted since I've seen it, and I really needed another Windows machine, and the opportunity to get it at a significantly reduced price. It's just a perfect storm. And now I have it. Glad I got it. And I would recommend one of these to most mobile professionals out there, or people that want to use it even as a desktop replacement. I think it would be more than adequate. I would probably recommend you wait to the refresh now, which is due anytime. I just got mine as a refurb, so I got really cheap. Well, cheaper, a lot cheaper. So let's see what the UX550 or whatever they call it brings. All right. And I think that'll wrap up this installment of Coffee Break. Thanks so much for watching. Look forward to your comments down below. Talk to you later. Oh, by the way, I got a clicky thing.